YouTube? What is going on? Northeast Ohio. Here for the weekly recap. Sunday morning. Well, you might be watching this at different times, future people, but going live Sunday morning. Looking at the last week or so in the wonderful world of sports cards. I'm not going to get into much news stuff today because there's just a lot of general NBA stuff I want to talk about. So no real newsy stuff. Nothing really popped to the top of the charts for me to mention. We're going to talk about football very quickly and then get into some basketball because a lot of players are starting to make some moves prior to this season starting. So real quick before we get into it, like, comment, sub. If you're watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, smack the sub button, hit the notification thingamajigger. That's what all the other YouTubers say, so I think I'm supposed to say that too. Like buttons and all that jazz. We're going to be in Market Movers exclusively today, so if you guys want to check out Market Movers on your own, link is below, and 20% off coupon code. Star Stock's still doing their thing. You get 10, I get 10, we all get 10. Promo code for that is down below. Oh. I meant to pull this up ahead of time, and I will right now. I wish I would have done this a long time ago. If you guys are looking for a last minute Christmas gift for a little treat yourself, because these are not super cheap. But if you're looking to treat yourself with a little something, let me pull it up real quick here. I highly suggest one of these label printers if you are selling a lot of sports cards. This is not an endorsement. They are not paying me. None of that. I was on the fence about ordering one of these for a really long time. I'm like, they're like $200. Because I previously I was just printing them out, cutting them out of paper, and using packing tape like most people. I wish I would have bought one of these a long time ago. If your significant other needs a last minute Christmas gift for you around this price range, highly, highly recommended. I love this thing. It saves me so much monkeying around. I could not say enough good things about this. And you could buy the off-brand rolls for like $8. It'll last you forever. You don't got to fuss around with ink. It's right next to my computer. It's glorious. So I'll leave a link to this down below in the description. There's a few different ones you could go with. I went specifically for this one because it prints the 4x6 labels, the Dymo. I asked around a bunch of people that do this way more than I even do. And this was the one. There was a few other ones people recommended, but this was the one that was recommended the most, that people like the most. So I personally cannot say enough good things about it. It took me 30 seconds to set up, and it has been amazing. I wish I had one a long time ago. So a little label printer. You know you're old when you get excited about a label printer. That's when you know you're past your prime. When a label printer is what gets you up in the morning. All right, let's get into it. I've wasted enough of everybody's time. Let's talk football really quick. I just kind of wanted to give a quick update on 2020 Prism football. Over the last week, you can see on the big old chart here, you don't necessarily need to worry about the individual numbers because we're not going to talk about them. There's just red everywhere. Once again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is a new product. It typically starts at its absolute highest price right out of the gate, settles over the next 2 to 4 weeks, then we'll eventually establish whatever its value is. Most popular football cards sold in the last 7 days. Justin Herbert Prism Base Raw, almost 300 of them in the last week. Everyone is going down. Jalen Hurts is still creeping up. He is plus 10% on the week. Not exactly surprising, as he started pretty cheap right when this released, and then he immediately got the starting gig right after. Burrow's still sitting at around $80. Tua's still sitting around 65. I'm not sure I like any of these guys at these prices, to be honest. Real quick, that's where we're just going to touch on football really quickly. Real quick before we move into basketball. And I don't talk a lot of baseball on the channel. I don't know it as well as I know basketball. So I don't like to just spout off name. Like, I know the players, but I don't know the intricacies of baseball cards because they're confusing as all hell. So I don't like to sit here and pretend that I know what I'm doing when it comes to baseball. I know a general cursory knowledge, probably just enough to get myself in trouble. I will say, if you know baseball and if you're interested in particular baseball players, I would really start digging in on that stuff because I think it's going to get semi forgotten about with the basketball season starting and the NFL season going in the playoffs. If you're looking to buy baseball, I think you should start doing your research. There's rumors the season might get delayed till May. So keep a close eye on that because that could depress the market a little bit more. And like I said, I don't follow the baseball market on a daily basis, but I have a feeling this is when you should start to be going into buy mode for baseball. I'm also looking at, in terms of football, I'm starting to think about guys I want to buy to sell at the beginning of next season. As the playoffs begin to roll around, teams get eliminated. These prices are going to drop on some of these guys. The number one guy I had on this list, and I think I missed the window on him because the stuff has already gone up and some other people have already talked about him, Card Optics, is Dak Prescott. He was kind of on my list of I hope everyone forgets about him and how low can his stuff get and let me see how much of it I could buy to then sell in the lead up to next season, assuming that he is fine. But his prices have already started, but he's already past his crater at this point. Maybe he dips down again. I don't know. But if there's any names like that intrigue you, I'd start putting them on a list. Quarterbacks that aren't making the playoffs, etc., and start keeping an eye on them. Because as the NFL season winds down, they will see their price dip and there will be an opportunity to buy typically around the Super Bowl or late into the playoffs, just like we saw with the NBA season. So let's get into basketball. I have rambled on long enough. Quite a few players this week have had really big games and their prices have taken off because of it. We had the great Talen Horton-Tucker experience that I did the separate video on. We're not going to talk about his stuff today. Needless to say, he has pulled back a little bit, but not a ton. But I expect once the regular season starts, we'll see what kind of playing time he gets. I believe his stuff will continue to slowly creep down. I actually think if he got down to a certain point, I would almost think he would be worth buying up again. But like, I'm talking 6 to 8 months from now, like if he doesn't do anything in the playoffs or he doesn't end up getting a lot of playing time, because I do think he has some potential, but it's not worth holding it over those long terms for what they were selling for a week ago. The other one that popped off was big old, the internet's favorite, Kyle Guy, the great white hope from the Sacramento Kings. He had like 20 some points, hit a game winner. His prism based rookies were like $2. They like quadrupled to $8-10, and his higher end stuff went up a little bit. It wasn't Talen Horton-Tucker levels because he just had one good game and LeBron didn't tweet about him. But these preseason guys are still popping off left and right if they have big games. And the stars, or, all stars, frontline players are starting to have bigger games, and it's affecting their prices and rapidly. And that's mostly what we're going to talk about today. Kobe White is basically number one on that list. He had an insane game or two, and his stuff went pretty crazy. His PSA 10 base prism went up 35% to $250 from $185 in 7 days. And he is up across the board. You name it, it's up. Mosaic, optic, prism, all the variations, everything Kobe White is up. And I think he's going to get a lot of playing time and a lot of run. He's going to start. They said they want him handling the ball most of the time. Kobe White's one of the ones I am not looking to sell. I am holding Kobe White into the season. I'm not sure he's the greatest long-term hold in the world. There's a decent possibility he's just Lou Williams 2.0. But I'm willing to roll the dice on him and see what happens because I think he can have some pretty big games. The Bulls are also I'm going to call them a spicy team for potentially making the playoffs or at least a playing game. We'll see how things shake out. But Kobe White stuff is basically on freaking fire. Next on the list, big bad. Actually, hold on. I lied. We're going to do them together. I missed my slides. Sekou. Everybody's favorite darling from last winter at about this time, Sekou. He had a couple nice games. And his stuff kind of popped off a little bit. He's up 27% on the week on his PSA 10 prism base, $90 to $115. We'll see what happens when he gets in season. I am also intrigued by him. He is not one of the guys on my sell list. I'm willing to roll the dice on him. I didn't spend anything to get into him. Whatever I have of his is pack pulled. So I'm willing to ride it out and see what happens. He is so young. I think he might not be the youngest player in the league anymore with the incoming class, but he's extremely young. And I think he might not get the playing time at the beginning of the season, but by the end of the season, he's going to get a ton of playing time because the Pistons are going to be out of it and they're going to want to see what their young guys have. So I'm going to at least hold Sekou until late in the season and see what happens. Maybe if he pops off early in the season, I would look to move off some. I don't have a ton, but his stuff popped way off with him having a very nice couple preseason games. Rui continues to fly up the board once again across this. All his stuff is going up left and right. He's up another 25% over the last 7 days. He started the week out at around $140 and is up to around 175. Once again, base Prism PSA 10. That is our baseline around here because it typically, whatever it does, the rest of the market tends to follow to some degree or another. So, lastly, and then we will get you guys out of here. Try to keep this one a little bit shorter for you. I know I tend to drone on and make these nice 20-minute videos. We'll see if we can stay away from that today. Zion and Ja both had really nice weeks. Both are up 10%. Zion is back up over $750, and Ja's over 500 again. And Zion has looked impressive in the bubble. And I'm telling you right now, if he comes out that first week looking hot, look out. People are chomping at the bit to want to buy and sell Zion both. The market for him will be intense once the season fires up, if he can back it up. And I've been extremely impressed with what I've seen out of John Morant in the preseason. He looks absolutely fantastic. I actually, if you guys watched it, I opened that box of Hoops Premium Hybrid, Hobby Hybrid, Premium Stock, whatever. It's got 17 names on it. And I pulled that Ja redemption, and I briefly considered just selling the redemption because Panini's a mess when it comes to redemptions. And I decided, you know what? I really like Ja. He's one of my players that I believe is a longer term hold and not a quick flip. So I went ahead and redeemed it. See what it looks like. They look like really nice cards. I looked at what some of the other versions look like that are in the product that weren't redemption versions, and they look pretty nice. So I redeemed it. We'll see what happens. It looks like the redemptions are selling for about $1,000 online, give or take. So it was a treat to myself. So I figured, what the hell, I'll redeem the card and see how long it takes to get back. Hopefully, Ja's stuff is not too backed up. But we are mere hours. You could almost count the hours away from the season officially starting. And we're officially in it. So I will be curious. Let me know what type of, now that we're out of the off season. I mean, we've been out of the off season since the preseason started, in my opinion, when it comes to trading cards. What kind of content do you guys want to see once we're in season? I have some ideas bouncing around my head, and a lot of it's probably just going to be, the NBA is a wild world to begin with. As things pop off, I just like to kind of hop on and make a quick video about it. So I'm still going to do that. But is there anything, that you guys would like to see on a, once a week? Could you talk about this or whatever? And if I like the idea, maybe I'll do it. Not promising anything. But just curious what kind of content you guys want to see once we move into the actual season. I'm still planning on the Sunday thing. The Sunday morning release thing is a staple. That is not going anywhere. I really want to try doing lives. My biggest problem is right now, especially with sports firing back up, is I don't like to go live against actual NBA basketball because I would assume that you would prefer to watch actual NBA games and I would prefer to watch actual NBA games. So then that means I got to go live a little earlier in the night. So we'll see. I would like to try to start to do lives. The other problem is my work schedule is about to be absolutely bonkers the next 3 months. I should still have time to make content, not a problem. It just might not be as frequent as it was during the off season where I was putting stuff out like every other day. We'll see. I honestly don't know yet. what the next few months are going to look like in regards to my actual job. Content for this week, I'm not sure what I have coming. I will probably do something Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the first couple days of the season goes. Um, and then I probably won't post anything until this will probably be a light week with Christmas. No promises because it's the NBA and James Harden can get traded tomorrow and upend the sports card market on a certain team. So we'll see what happens. But that's all I have for you guys. If for some reason I don't get a video out prior to Christmas, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Have a safe Christmas. Be careful out there. It's getting crazier and crazier by the day in this wonderful year of 2020 that we are all anxiously awaiting to be over. Merry Christmas to all. To all a good night. Peace.